Hello, my dear students. Today we would be discussing departmentalization. So, what is departmentalization? Departmentalization or departmentation, it is a process wherein jobs or teams are combined together into functional units called as departments on the basis of their area of specialization to achieve the goals of the organization. So, in this way, the entire organization is divided into parts or subparts. Those are known as departments, which comprise a group of employees who carry out activities of similar nature. Now, it determines the functions or activities which are to be housed together and coordinated at the same place. And further, it groups the personnel who will undertake the delegated functions or tasks. Now, in a corporate ladder, every level below the top is departmentalized, and each subsequent level is further differentiated into departments. Now, the top level executives group activities in various departments such as production, marketing, finance, human resource, research and development, etc. So, these departments are headed by senior executives called as managers of their respective department. The departmental manager can delegate tasks and duties to the subordinates, and they are accountable to the chief executive for the performance of the department. Now, as you've understood, what are departments? These are the subparts of an organization, right? So, what does departmentalization do? It is efficient and effective grouping of jobs into meaningful work units for the accomplishment of the organization's objectives. Now, division of labor creates numerous specialized jobs. These need to be synchronized, which require coordination. So, departmentalization brings coordination by grouping the jobs on a rational basis so as to increase the efficiency of work. Now, departmentalization is going to help the organization expand, and it can lead to unlimited growth, right? So, this was about what departmentalization is. Now, what are the objectives of departmentalization? Obviously, to specialize activities. So, the departments would be doing some specialized work or activity. Second, to simplify the process and operations of the organization. If we do not synthesize things, then it becomes difficult to comprehend, right? Hence, in order to simplify the processes, it is better to divide them according to their specialization. And this way, it would be very easy to control. If the similar tasks are happening at the same place, then obviously it is easier to control. Like, for example, let's take a manufacturing unit where there is no departmentalization. Every worker, somebody is stitching, somebody is putting buttons on it, somebody, manufacturing of shirts is happening, somebody is dyeing, and you do not know where what thing is happening. How on earth are you going to control it, right? So, if in order to control it, departmentalization serves a good purpose. Now, departmentalization of activities result in the increase in efficiency of management. Of course, they are going to control it better, and there is a proper process to it. So, it is going to increase the efficiency of the management and ultimately the enterprise. So, it is helpful in fixing responsibilities and accountability as well. Methods of departmentalization. Now, these are the various methods in which departmentalization happens. The first is departmentalization by function, then by process, then by product, then by customer, then by territory, and then by project. Let's see one by one what are they. Now, departmentalization by function. So, you know what? This is the most commonly used basis of creating departments. Now, in this, the departments are created on occupational specialization. Specialists and experts are appointed at key departmental positions. Experts in same area with same orientation work together in a department. Now, what is it going to do? It is going to create synergy, which improves efficiency and productivity. Now, typically, a manufacturing organization may have separate departments for production, marketing, finance, and human resources. Now, similarly, different types of organizations will have different departments. Now, say a service may not have the production department. Thus, functional department is built around the basic functions performed in the organization, right? So, typically, this is how the departmentalization by function looks like. So there are board of directors, chief executive officer, then there are production, purchase, finance, and marketing. This is the typical way the organizations are departmentalized. Now, now departmentalization by process. So the grouping of activities on the basis of production processes or equipment involved is referred to as departmentalization by process. So in departmentation by the process, what is going to happen? So the activities are grouped as per the production process. These departments require manpower and material so as to carry out operations. Now, this type of pattern of departmentalization, according to the process, is seen in manufacturing firms, usually with assembly line processing. So it is prevalent in, let's say, engineering, textile, petrochemical refineries, etc. Now, which require expensive equipment. Since such costly machines cannot be installed in every department which needs its use, the departments are created around the machinery or the process. Further, only skilled workers are required to operate the equipment, so it is logical to group such activities and people together. Economic and technological considerations are the most important reasons for implementing such process based on departmentalization. And therefore, it is commonly found in production and frequently at operating levels. An example of process-based departmentation can be paper making organization. Now, the inputs like what are the inputs? Something as wood logs. So they undergo cutting and grinding processes and are converted into pulp. Now, this pulp is processed chemically and sent for pounding and squashing process that is known as beating. Now the pulp is converted into paper through process of rolling and finishing. So there are according to these beating, pulping, finishing, the process line would be. Here I have given you an example of, let us say, a cloth. So there would be spinning, the threads would be spinned, then weaved, then dyed, and then there would be packing. So these are the, according to the process they have uh, departmentalized. Now the next one is, now next is departmentalization by product. Now when the activities related to product development and delivery are combined into particular division, it is called as product departmentalization. It is appropriate for large scale multi-product enterprises. Now, this is also a common basis of departmentalization. In this, the employees and activities are organized on the basis of products or services they work with. Now, this type of departmentalization is obviously, I've told you, is useful for large multi product companies. So, product departmentalization is preferred when product expansion and diversification of products are of primary concern. A separate division is created for each product line or service offered by the company. Now, this creates a fairly autonomous divisions. Each division is a profit center which focuses on the product and is headed by a product or division manager. Now, all the work related to a product like production, sales, marketing, etc., is done in that product division. Now, this facilitates coordination between people from different functional areas. Thus, the engineer, design, and manufacturing experts are in the same division and can easily consult and take decisions about the product design, features, and quality expectations of the product. Now, it is shown here the product. So there are different products: product A, product B, and product C. Now, the production, engineering, and design research department, this is the division B, product B's department. Similarly, there would be for A and C. So hence, whenever your company has many products, then they would go for departmentalization by product. So departmentalization based on the customer groups. So the grouping of the organization according to different classes of customers or clients is this way, and it focuses on special customer needs. Now, every business operates to serve its customers and to satisfy their needs, right? The business may organize the activities on the basis of customer groups they serve. Now, this grouping, which focuses on customer groups and their specific needs, is called departmentalization based on the customer groups. Now, an example could be a bank which categorizes its service departments into corporate banking, maybe personal banking, and agricultural banking, targeting the different needs of these customer segments. Or let us say it's a manufacturing company which has got a wholesale department or a retail department or an export department. So according to their marketing department, they have departmentalized their organization. The next is departmentalization by the territory. Now, it is the departmentalization when it is based on the geographical area is territorial departmentalization. Now, this is suitable for the organization that have widespread operations at different locations. So, if an organization's customers are geographically dispersed, and it can group divisions based on territory. Now, for example, let's say a multinational corporation having operations across the globe could create regional divisions which could be further divided into country wise units of operations, right? So something like US operations, European operations, Asian operations, and Australian operations. Then in Asian operations, further Indian unit, or a Singaporean unit, or a Chinese unit, or a Japanese unit, so further divided into other territories. So this is the way uh, departmentalization can be done according to the geography or territory. Now, geographical divisions, they help focus on the needs of local markets and utilize local resources. Now, the company may be selling same products and services at all locations, but the geographical divisions have the autonomy to decide product design, price, marketing, etc., based on the local needs and expectations. I gave you in the previous slides an example of McDonald's. So they remove beef burgers before coming into the Indian market. Now, so this is how the departmentalization is done, right? So the central head office decides the broad overall policies and objectives, coordinates between the various divisions. Now, depending on the size of business, each geographical unit may report to an executive who is responsible for several units or to the top management directly. Now, they operate their units within the broad policy guidelines from the head office. Then, departmentalization by the project. Now, in project departmentalization, the organizational activities are classified by differentiated or special ventures or activities. Now, suitability. The choice of departmentalization basis is influenced by the factors such as degree of specialization, coordination, control, consideration, and adequate attention to key areas, etc. So I have deliberately taken this after departmentalization as we have studied about modern organizations and traditional organization structures. So let us see what is the difference between the two. Now, today there are two main flows of organizational run concurrently: traditional organizations, the kind of the ones which were established between 20th century, and another is modern organizations emerged in this ongoing century. There are huge differences between these two trends. Traditional organizations. Now, these traditional organizations represent the organizational structure in a business. It is hierarchical, meaning power flows vertically and upward, and employees are departmentalized. Now, all employees follow a chain of command, such as manager is the chief coordinator of all the departments. Each department has a head who report to the manager, like the military system, which is very hierarchical, organized, and disciplined. Now, every department has its own rules and regulations, and every employee has own job description and accountability to his superior, like close to the line structure. Now, they strictly follow their own business strategy that's set in the annual economic year. All the goal achievement plans are set before, and they are difficult to change. Now, these traditional organizations essentially are fixed and rigid. What about the modern organizations? Modern organizations are boundaryless organizations which are networking together and collaborating more than ever before. Now, they are well suited for rapid innovation and therefore ideal for companies in the growing technology industry. Its main concept is to diversify its activities and connectivity. As a result, it can accept new challenges and can set a goal frequently. Now, modern style of management largely depends on soft skills, consensus building, relationships, listening and understanding, taking the team along with you willingly, then dragging them along, right? So the modern organization versus traditional organization, we can just catch the essence through this chart. Now, what is it saying? That the traditional organizations are essentially centralized and concentrated, whereas contemporary models or the modern models are decentralized. Now, in the traditional models, there is deep organizational structure, whereas so it's like more hierarchical, whereas the contemporary model is shallow organizational structure. Now, in traditional structure, there is a narrow range of control, so only the top management is controlling, whereas in contemporary models, there is a wide range of control. At every level, the organization is getting control by managers. Now, it is a hard structure, it is not flexible, whereas contemporary structures are flexible. Because it is a not flexible structure, and hence it becomes static, whereas contemporary or modern structures are innovative and dynamic. Now, these are the machinistic or bureaucratic structures, whereas the modern structures are adaptive or organic in nature. Now, the authority of the individual there is an individual is responsible, but in case of modern organizations, it is all the teamwork which takes place. In traditional organizations, they do not give too much emphasis on people, so it's all machinistic types, whereas in dynamic organizations or contemporary organizations, they respect people and their behaviors. The next is that the management with people. So they in traditional organizations, they try and manage the people, whereas in contemporary organizations, they manage the processes and not the people. People are the processes are the driving force, and people are the the drivers. Then in traditional model, there is in existence of corporate culture, whereas in contemporary models there is existence of corporate culture. Then unwillingness to organizational changes. Of course, it's not flexible and hence they do not like changes. Whereas in contemporary organization, they just want to change as per the new environment. Now, in traditional structure, it is a federal structure. So, and in contemporary, it is a confederation of enterprise. So, it is more like a cooperative kinds, and traditional one is more federal or feudal in nature. That there are people who will control the entire organization. Then functional decentralization, whereas so there can be decentralization but at the functional level, whereas they have federal decentralization, as in decentralization at every point. So this was the difference between modern organizations and traditional organizations.